Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the graph of a linear function. So how do we draw the linear function? We all know that the linear function is going to look like a line on a coordinate plane. So how do we determine that? So for linear function, you will see the form of mx plus b, right? Whereas b is our initial value, also is our y-intercept, and m is the slope. So when we interpret the slope, usually we interpret it as rise over run, right? So for example, I give you a function 2/3 of s plus 4. In this function, how do you draw it? All right, so that means the first point you're looking for is the y-intercept 4. So here is, let's say this is our 4, and rise 2 units, 1, 2, and run 3 units, 1, 2, 3. So that means this is our other point located by the slope, and you connect these 2 points together, you will get the linear function. So sometimes you will see the graph look like y equals to negative 1/4 x plus 2, or let's try some minus 2 because we've been doing lots of plus. So for the slope m equals to negative 1/4, you can interpret it as negative 1/4, or you can also interpret it as 1/-4 because they're both equal to negative 1/4. So that means for the run, you can either run to the left 4 unit and then go up, or you can go down 1 unit and run to the right 4 units, either way. So for this one, we have negative 2 in here, y as our y-intercept. All right, run for negative 1, I will have it here at negative 3, and run 4 unit, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means this is our another point. Connect these 2 points. Okay, this is not the best graph. If I'm connecting these 2 points, I will get another linear function. All right. So another way to do it is you find the horizontal intercept. So for example, first of all, what is a horizontal intercept? So the horizontal intercept of the function is where the graph crosses the horizontal axis. So in this case, if the graph looked like this, we know that the graph intercept, this is our vertical axis, this is our horizontal axis. So this point intersect with the y-axis. We call it the vertical intercept. Sometimes we call it y-intercept. They're the same. At this point, we call it horizontal intercept. So horizontal intercept is what is on the x-axis. That means when y equals to 0, we have our horizontal intercept. For vertical intercept is when x equals to 0. Okay, so now I'm giving you a function y equals to negative 3 plus 1/2 s, 1/2 x, and I want you to find the vertical intercept and the horizontal intercept. So for the vertical intercept, it's b, right? So here it's not hard to find. When x equals to 0, b is negative 3, right? So now it's the horizontal intercept. Horizontal intercept is when y equals to 0. So that means you want to set the whole function equals to 0, and then you try to solve the function. You will have x equals to 6. So that means our horizontal intercept is going to be 6, 0. So that means the graph is going to intersect with the graph intercept with the axis at 6. All right, another two important things is horizontal line and the vertical line. So this is y, this is x. For a horizontal line of the equation, that means if the graph look like this, for example, this is 4. So that means this linear function, we can write it as y equals to 4 or any other numbers. So if we have a vertical line, the function is going to return as, let's say this is -6, so x is equal to -6. So in general, a horizontal line has the equation of the form fx equals to b. B is any numbers, any constant numbers, because you can also use y equals to b. Fx is equal to y, right? So for a vertical line, all of the vertical line has the equations of the form x equals to a. A can be any number, such as this one, x equals to -6. It gives you a vertical line. Okay, another important concept of the graph of linear function is a parallel line, a parallel. So two lines are parallel if the slope are equal. So that's the definition. Two lines are parallel if the slope are equal. For example, in here I have two lines, the red one in here and the blue one. If these two lines are parallel, that means they don't have intersection. That means the slope m1s plus b1 y equals to m2x plus b2. m1 and m2, b1, b2 represent different number. So in this case, if they're parallel, then m1 equals to m2. So, for example, on decimal, this is a graphic calculator. So I have a y equals to 2s plus 1. So look at the red line. And now I give you another line, y equals to 2s minus 6. Look at the blue line and the red line, they're parallel. The slope both equals to 2. I can get another line. As long as the slope, they're all equals to 2, I will get, hey, a parallel line. Even though for this one crossing the origin, that means the intercept is 0. It's still parallel. Or I give you another one, x plus 3. So look, they are all parallel to each other. So that means as long as the slope are equal to each other, we will get a parallel line. Okay, so another one is perpendiculars. So what is a perpendiculars? So that means these two lines, you have a line A, the red one, and a blue one. When they're perpendicular, that means these two lines form a 19 degree, right? So how can you determine if this line is perpendicular? So if I have a function, g of x equals to m1s plus b1, and then fx equals to m2x plus b2, what happened to the slope? Well, the line will be perpendicular if the product of these two slopes, m1 times m2 equals to -1. Or if you want to manipulate them a little bit, m2 should equal to -1 over m1. So that means you divide m1 on both sides. So we often say the slope of a perpendicular line is the negative reciprocal of the other line's slope. All right, so here again, I'm going to show you the example on this graph. For example, the same one in here, I'm trying to find the line perpendicular to the red one. So that means if the slope for the red one is 2, the slope for the second one should be what? -1/2, right? So look, the black line and the red line are perpendiculars. Or I can do another one that was still perpendicular to the red one as -4. These should be changed to different color. So look, the blue one also perpendicular to the red one. As long as the product, which is -1/2 times 2 equals to -1, then you have a perpendicular line. But here's the interesting thing. So for the, what about the black line and the blue line? So now they have the same slope, both equals to -1/2 and -1/2. So that means these two are parallel. So now let's try this. If I want you to find the equation of a line perpendicular to fx equals to 6 plus 3x and passing through the point 3, 0. So how do I do this? So let's draw this. What does this look like? Well, this is 6, and then for run, we run to 3, 1, 2, 3 here and 1 in here. So that's the line for this function, which is fx equals to 6 plus 3x. Okay, so now they want you to find a line perpendicular to this y line, also passing through the point 3, 0. 3, 0 is approximately here. This is not the best graph. And I want this look like approximately here, right? If this is 3, 0. So this is perpendicular. Okay, so how do we find this line? All right, the first thing is we can find the slope of the red line. So the slope of the red line, m1, times the slope of the y line, which is 3, should equal to -1, right? So that means m1, the slope for the red line, should equal to -1/3. Because the product of these two slopes should equal to -1. So we solve m1 equals to -1/3. Okay, so we got the function y equals to -1/3 x plus b. We still need to find the y-intercept. Okay, since we know that this is going to be passing through the point 3, 0, we substitute 3, 0 into the function of 0 equals to -1/3 times 3 plus b. So I got b equals to 1. So that means the function of this graph should be y equals to -1/3 x plus 1. So that will be the function that we are looking for. Okay, so now let me give you an example. Here, try this one, pause the video and try this one. So they're giving you a line, -4 plus 2t, and find the equation for the line passing through the point 0, 0 that is parallel to the original function and perpendicular to h of t. So to solve the first one, well, you need to find the slope. Since the line is parallel to HT, so that means the slope is going to equals to the same slope of HT. The slope of HT is equals to 2. So that means we know that m is equals to, we have the equation 2x plus b. Also, we know that this line is going to pass in through 0, 0. So that means I have 2 times 0 plus b. So I got b equals to 0. So that means the line is going to be 2x. So this line is going to parallel to the line h of t equals -4 plus 2t. So for second one, m, we don't know. But we know that m, the slope for the perpendicular line, is what? The product of that should equal to -1. So that means m1 equals to -1/2. So we will have the equation of -1/2 x plus b. Again, this is going to passing through the line 0, 0. When we substitute 0, 0 into the function, we will find b equals to 0. All right, so that means the perpendicular line is equal to -1/2 x. We can also check our answer by using decimals. So here is the decimals.com. Now look back to our function. They want you to find the 9 x equals to -4 plus 2x, right? And now we want to find the line that parallel to them, which we just found y equals to 2x. Look at the green line and the blue line. They're parallel to each other. And then we also need to find the line that passing through the origin 0, 0 also is perpendicular to the blue line. So what we found is -1/2 x. Look, the purple line is perpendicular to the blue one, also passing through the origin. That means that's the 2 lines that we are looking for. Okay, so the last part of this function is interception. So if you take a look, if I'm giving you 2 points, f(x), let's say y equals to 3x minus 4, and then this is black line. Another line would be y equals to 5 minus t, or minus x. So as you can see, there is an interception point here. So how do we find the interception point? Well, if they intercept, that means at that point, x, y, which is 2 1/4, 2 3/4, is going to be on both lines, right? So in general, how do we find that one? So here is the steps. So to find the interception, I have 2 lines, fx equals to 3x minus 4, g of x equals to 5 minus x. So in order to find the interception, I need to set fx equals to g of x, because the point, the interception point that is on both lines. That means at that point, the y coordinate is going to be equal. So I will get 3x minus 4 equals to 5 minus x. And then I solve for x by adding x on both sides of 4x minus 4 equals to 5. And then add 4 on both sides equals to 9. So x is equal to 9/4, which is the interception coordinate, right? Which is 2 1/4, which is 9/4. All right, after we find the x coordinate, you still need to find the y coordinate, right? So since this dot is on both interception point, they're on both lines. So that means you can substitute x into the function fx, or you can substitute into the g of x. They should get you the same result. I'm going to substitute into the gx. So it will give me the y coordinate, which is 20/4 minus 9/4, which is 11 over 4, which is what? 2 1/3, which is what they show on the decimal.com. So here is the interception point. So remember that on the interception point means that this point is going to be on both lines. So that means the x and y coordinate are going to be the same. All right. So the last part is the inequality of these two functions. You think about that. Since when, remember, the black line is fx, the red line is g of x. Since when the value fx is going to be greater than g of x. So that means after at what point of x, g of fx, the black line, is always on top of the red line, which is after passing the interception point, right? Because after passing it, the y value of the black line is always above the y value of the red line. So for this inequality, it's the same solve. We substitute g of x and fx into the function. I have 3x minus 4 greater than 5 minus x. When I solve it, I will get s greater than 9/4, right? That means after you passing 9/4, you will get the value of fx always greater than the value of g of x. Okay, so that's it for this section. We will give you more examples during our homework. Let me know if you have other questions.